Hello everyone, welcome to Business on Joy News Prime. The World Bank Country Director, Henry Kirali, is asking the Bank of Ghana to put in place effective mechanisms to clean up the mess in the microfinance and rural banking sectors. The bank says a research conducted indicates there is a gap in regulations for microfinance institutions, which will adversely affect the economy.
Microfinance institutions and rural banks are said to be suffering following ongoing reforms in the financial sector. Some have argued that the lack of capacity by the Bank of Ghana to effectively supervise the sector remains a major setback. At the Making Ghana Finance Week celebration in Accra, Country Director of the World Bank, Henry Kirali, pledged his outfit's support to remedy the situation.
Too numerous. There are literally thousands of these microfinance institutions, rural and community banks, savings and loans institutions, and so on. And so when you have such a large number, then it's way beyond the capacity of BOG as at present to be able to supervise all of them individually. So what we are trying to do is to work with BOG to strengthen its capacity, both in terms of number, but also put in place systems whereby maybe BOG doesn't have to supervise each individual MFI or RCB or whatever. So there has to be a system in place that enables a broader reach of BOG to these much smaller institutions, and also the regulatory framework needs to be put in place by government.
A topic for discussion to open the forum was mobilizing private and public financial resources to accelerate the achievement of sustainable development goals in Ghana.
Collectively, we've taken up the SDGs agenda with great gusto and very strong political will at the highest levels of government. And here, the President to really champion accelerated implementation of the goals, not just globally, but here in Ghana. Very practical things that we certainly have done in terms of the architecture to support implementation, which is seen as a best practice. The high-level ministerial committee, which is chaired by the Minister of Planning, which meets on a quarterly basis to track progress and to look at where there are challenges and then to propose recommendations for action. And here I'm talking about practical recommendations.
The three-day event provides a platform for financial analysts and corporate bodies to discuss possible solutions for the development of sustainable funding for the UN goals.
Now, insurance company UT Life has challenged claims the banking sector shake-up, which led to the collapse of UT Bank, has affected its operations. Chief executive of the insurance company, which has now been acquired by foreign investor Leapfrog, Kweku Yeboah-Esuama, made the revelation at the official rebranding of UT Life Insurance in Accra. Here's more.
There have been some concerns that the collapse of some struggling banks is having a ripple effect on related industries. In the case of UT Bank, for instance, it was believed the bank's liquidation would have a direct effect on UT Life Insurance Company's operations, since it used to be a subsidiary of UT Holdings. But now the company has been acquired by a foreign investor, Leapfrog. Chief executive of the insurance firm, Kweku Yeboah-Esuama, noted the rebranding has nothing to do with UT Bank's collapse.
Our rebranding, as I said, is because of what we want to do for our customers. We want to reposition ourselves in the industry in such a way that we will be able to reach out to as many Ghanaians as possible. And we couldn't have done that in the old way of doing things. We needed a new way. And as we come up with a new way, we try to put a new image to it. And that is virtually the reason for this exercise. The issue of UT Bank happened about 1.5 years ago. And if that was the reason, it wouldn't have taken us that much.
Leapfrog acquired a majority shareholding in UT Life Insurance. Partner of Leapfrog, Raymond Snyder, says his outfit will consider retaining more of its profits in the country.
What we see is our investment in the business is not to take profits out. Our investment, the way that we invest, is actually to partner with the business we invest in to help them grow, to become attractive, so that we then introduce global financial institutions to come in and become partners and then be that for long term.
In a related development, Head of Supervision at the National Insurance Commission, Seth Shen, reiterates the new minimum capital requirements for the insurance sector is only meant to strengthen the sector.
There is a lot of, I know the industry is worried a lot about capital requirements and minimum capital and all that. The whole purpose of all of that is that we want to ensure that we have a market which is competitive. And not only competitive, it's a market that is not overcrowded, basically.
Meanwhile, My Life Insurance Company says it is more than ready to meet an increase in the minimum capital requirement for the sector. Bismarck Hausa's report for Joy Business.
In other news tonight, government is working to issue the country's first green bond no later than 2020. This would, however, be subject to favorable conditions on the international market. George Afield was at a meeting to finalize the issuance of this government paper, and he's got the rest of the story.
A green bond are government papers specifically targeted at financing projects that are friendly to the environment. It is believed to be cheaper compared to the traditional bonds. In the sub-region, Nigeria was the first to tap into this market. Today's meeting was aimed at bringing players in the financial sector and some government agencies to explain to them what goes into this bond. Speaking to Joy Business at the workshop on this program, Head of Investor Relations at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Zakaria Issahaku, has been explaining to Joy Business the project that government intends to fund the green bond with.
When we are going to issue bonds, energy projects will be considered.
Solar,
solar, wind, these are clean, so they will surely be considered. In agric, we want to sustain the fertility of our soils. So projects which will sustain the fertility of our soils will be promoted. We call it smart agriculture. In terms of transport is also another big area. You know, our cities are congested, everybody is using a car. So which projects we need to invest and say, people using bicycle, what about that? Building our roads such that people will comfortably use bicycles, especially for short distances. You know, so these are the projects that may be looked at in terms of as qualified to be financed by green bonds.
Head of Corporate Investment at First National Bank, Victor Asante, has been explaining to Joy Business why the time is right for government to go this way.
There's a lot of thinking around sustainable lending, and equity principles have been in place. A lot of people already are very, very aware of the fact that when it comes to lending, when it comes to infrastructure development or any other such development, we need to make sure we are doing the right things with the environment. So it's kind of accepted. Everybody's looking at how they will do that. Now, green bonds are just a way of making sure that the process of raising funds for those particular projects embed in them other issues that are environmentally friendly. So that's basically it, and we kind of have navigated that. There's a specific market to tap into. You must be guided into how you can tap into this market in terms of how you structure your offering.
Government is hoping to use this bond to diversify its income stream as well as revenue aimed at financing infrastructure projects in the country.
Now, all is set for the 8 final teams to compete in the 2018 Cosmos Innovation Center Agritech Challenge. With just hours to go for the final pitch on Thursday, the teams were given a last chance to review their presentations before the experts.
In less than 24 hours, these agri-techies will have the last chance to defend their ideas before an 11-member panel of judges. Over the past 8 months, contestants have undergone a series of capacity building and market research programs aimed at improving their business concepts. A day to the final pitch, and the agri-techies have been given the last chance to seek advice and guidance ahead of the final pitch. Representatives from the Washington office of Cosmos Energy, Deepika and Anand were around to help the team.
As with every year, it's exciting to see how the KIC entrepreneurs develop, but this is the third year that I've been doing it, and certainly this year's cohort is very well prepared, perhaps even better prepared than the previous years. So it's good to see the progression of the entrepreneurs over year to year.
This year, something new that we've actually introduced to the program is the MVP stage. So MVP, or minimum viable product, we've had all of the teams and invested $2,000 in each of them, US, to create a minimum version of their product that they can take out into the field, test with actual potential customers, and bring back key learnings that they can then introduce into their project design.
All right, may the best team win. That'll be it for business tonight.